Welcome back to our spine-chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Golden State, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this fourth installment of Most Haunted Hotels in California, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so haunting they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From opulent ocean liners turned hotels to historic lodges nestled in misty forests, California is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. California's haunted hotels are more than just places to rest your head, they're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These establishments stand as silent witnesses to events that continue to reverberate through time. Tragic love affairs cut short, murders cloaked in secrecy, suicides born of despair, and unexplained disappearances that haunt the living long after the deed is done. Each hotel holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted hotels across California, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted lobbies, explore eerie suites cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned wings teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of California's most storied hotels, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Queen Mary Hotel, a floating nightmare docked permanently in Long Beach since 1967, the RMS Queen Mary stands as one of California's most iconic and most haunted hotels. This once majestic ocean liner, built in 1936, served both as a glamorous cruise ship and a troop transport during World War II, ferrying thousands of soldiers across perilous waters. Beneath its grand Art Deco facade lies a darker narrative, one marked by wartime tragedies, accidental deaths, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Queen Mary occurred in 1942, when the ship accidentally rammed and sank her escort vessel, the HMS Curacao, off the coast of Ireland. Over 300 lives were lost in the disaster, many of whom were trapped inside the smaller ship as it broke apart. Survivors claimed to hear screams coming from beneath the waves, a haunting sound that has reportedly echoed aboard the Queen Mary ever since. Today, visitors staying overnight in the ship-turned hotel often recount hearing faint cries and splashing noises near the lower decks, particularly around areas associated with the collision. Another enduring legend revolves around the spirit of a young girl named Jackie, who allegedly drowned in one of the ship's pools. Guests frequently report seeing a childlike figure playing near the now-closed first-class pool, giggling softly before vanishing into thin air. Others describe feeling an inexplicable coldness or seeing wet footprints appear spontaneously on the tiled floor. Some claim to catch glimpses of Jackie skipping along the corridors, her translucent form illuminated by dim light. Perhaps the most unsettling presence aboard the Queen Mary belongs to John Petter, a crew member crushed to death in the ship's engine room in 1966. According to legend, Petter's restless spirit continues to wander the narrow corridors of Boiler Room No. 1, his final resting place. Paranormal investigators have captured chilling EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recordings in which disembodied voices whisper warnings like, "Get out," or "Leave me alone." Staff members tasked with maintaining the area speak of tools moving inexplicably, lights flickering without cause, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Overnight stays on the Queen Mary offer brave souls the chance to experience these phenomena firsthand. Many guests recount waking up to the feeling of someone touching their arm, or hearing heavy footsteps pacing outside their door. Some even claim to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, only to vanish when approached. These encounters are so frequent that the hotel offers guided ghost tours, allowing curious visitors to explore the darker side of its storied past. Despite, or perhaps because of, its reputation as a hot spot for paranormal activity, the Queen Mary remains a magnet for thrill-seekers and history buffs alike. Its blend of elegance and eeriness makes it one of California's most sought-after destinations for those willing to test their courage against the unknown. As we continue our exploration of haunted hotels, few places rival the sheer magnitude of spectral energy contained within the steel hull of this floating nightmare. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Glamour meets ghosts in the heart of Los Angeles, where dreams are forged and shattered beneath the glittering marquees of Hollywood Boulevard, stands the historic Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Since opening its doors in 1927, this Art Deco gem has played host to some of the entertainment industry's brightest stars and darkest secrets. Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, Charlie Chaplin, and countless other luminaries once graced its halls, leaving behind not only memories of glamour but also whispers of something far more sinister. One of the hotel's most enduring legends revolves around room 928, said to be haunted by the ghost of a jilted lover who took her own life within its confines. Guests staying in this room frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of perfume lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find the bedside mirror fogged, as though someone had just leaned close to exhale upon it. Others describe hearing soft sobbing emanating from the bathroom, only to discover it empty upon investigation. Another spectral resident of the Roosevelt is believed to be none other than Marilyn Monroe herself. The screen icon famously lived in the hotel during the early days of her career, and her presence is said to linger in the suite she once called home. Housekeeping staff have reported seeing a blonde woman dressed in vintage clothing gazing wistfully out of the windows, disappearing when approached. Guests lucky enough to stay in the same suite often wake up to find items rearranged or their belongings inexplicably moved, as if the starlet were tidying up after them. But the hauntings extend beyond individual rooms. The hotel's famed Cinegrill nightclub, now converted into a private event space, is rumored to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Patrons seated at Table 9, located directly beneath the stage, have complained of sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of icy fingers brushing against their necks. Performers who take the stage above swear they can feel unseen eyes watching them, while staff members recount stories of glasses shattering without explanation and chairs scraping across the floor when no one is nearby. Even the hotel's elevators are not immune to the supernatural. Employees and guests alike have reported instances of the lifts stopping unexpectedly on random floors, opening to reveal empty hallways bathed in an eerie silence. On occasion, disembodied laughter echoes through the carriages, accompanied by the faint strains of jazz music, a nod to the hotel's heyday when live bands entertained patrons late into the night. Despite its haunted reputation, the Hollywood Roosevelt remains a beloved landmark, attracting tourists eager to glimpse a piece of Tinseltown history. For those brave enough to spend the night, the promise of encountering a Hollywood legend, or something less benign, is part of the allure. Whether you're a skeptic drawn by morbid fascination or a believer eager to explore the unknown, the Roosevelt offers an unforgettable experience where every creaking floorboard and flickering light might just be a sign that you're not alone. The Julia Morgan House. Whispers of tragedy tucked away in the serene coastal town of San Luis Obispo lies the Julia Morgan House, a quaint yet foreboding bed and breakfast that has earned its place among California's most haunted hotels. Designed by renowned architect Julia Morgan, best known for her work on Hearst Castle, the house exudes an understated elegance that belies the tragedy etched into its foundation. Built in the early 20th century, the property was originally intended as a retreat for artists and intellectuals. However, its peaceful beginnings were soon overshadowed by a series of harrowing events that would forever taint its legacy. One of the hotel's most enduring legends revolves around the spirit of Catherine Devereux, a reclusive poet who resided there during the 1930s. Devereux, plagued by mental illness and a crumbling marriage, sought solace in the solitude of the seaside estate. Her descent into madness culminated in a horrific act of violence, when she allegedly murdered her estranged husband during a heated confrontation in the master bedroom. Survivors claimed to hear screams piercing the night air, followed by an ominous silence. By morning, Devereaux had vanished without a trace. Since then, guests at the Julia Morgan house have reported unnerving encounters linked to Catherine's tormented spirit. Many describe hearing faint scratching sounds emanating from the walls, as though someone, or something, is clawing desperately to escape. Others recount waking up to find their bedsheets tangled and possibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. The most disturbing accounts come from visitors staying in the master bedroom, where Catherine's crime unfolded. Shadows flit across the corners of vision, and the acrid smell of iron fills the air, evoking the grisly scene that transpired decades ago. Adding to the house's eerie atmosphere is the recurring appearance of a spectral figure believed to be Catherine herself. Dressed in a flowing white gown, she is often seen wandering the grounds at dusk, giggling softly before vanishing into thin air. Some guests claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing mournful whispers pleading for forgiveness. In one particularly chilling incident, a couple staying in the house swore they saw Catherine standing at the foot of their bed, her translucent form illuminated by moonlight. When they attempted to speak to her, she vanished into thin air, leaving behind an oppressive sense of dread. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Julia Morgan house describe it as a veritable hotbed of supernatural activity. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the master bedroom and the garden where Catherine's body was eventually found. EVP recordings captured during overnight sessions reveal faint voices muttering indistinct phrases, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator even captured what appears to be a shadowy silhouette moving through the hallway on camera, an image that has since become a staple of online paranormal forums. Despite its unsettling reputation, the Julia Morgan house continues to attract curious travelers eager to experience its macabre charm. Owners make no secret of its haunted history, instead embracing it as part of the property's unique appeal. For those bold enough to book a stay, the promise of encountering Catherine's restless spirit, or perhaps unraveling the mysteries surrounding her disappearance, proves irresistible. Yet, as each new guest steps across the threshold, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the house's tragic tale? The Del Monte Hotel. Echoes of the gold rush. Nestled in the historic mining town of Monterey lies the Del Monte Hotel, a relic of California's frenzied gold rush era. Constructed in 1850, this charming yet ominous establishment quickly became a hub for prospectors, merchants, and adventurers chasing fortune in the Sierra Nevada foothills. Its weathered brick facade and creaking wooden floors bear witness to a bygone age of ambition and desperation, where dreams were forged and shattered with equal ferocity. However, it was during these tumultuous years that the first seeds of horror were sown. One of the most notorious incidents tied to the Del Monte Hotel occurred in 1853, when a violent dispute erupted between two rival miners over a lucrative claim. The argument spilled into the hotel's saloon, where tempers flared and fists flew. What began as a heated exchange escalated into a deadly shootout, leaving 3 men dead and several others wounded. Bloodstains soaked into the floorboards, and the room was hastily closed off afterward, deemed too cursed to reopen. Today, visitors staying overnight in the hotel often recount hearing muffled gunshots and guttural shouting, as though the brawl continues to play out in an endless loop. Adding to the hotel's haunted reputation is the legend of Emily Caldwell, a young woman who worked as a maid during the late 1800s. Described as beautiful but tragically naive, Emily fell victim to the advances of a wealthy guest who promised her riches and romance. When she discovered his intentions were less than honorable, she confronted him in room 17, only to meet a gruesome fate. Accounts vary, but all agree that Emily's death was brutal and unjust. Her spirit is said to linger in the room, manifesting as a faint outline of a woman clad in Victorian attire. Guests often complain of feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, accompanied by the sound of quiet sobbing that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. The Del Monte's basement, once used as storage for gold shipments, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of workers who vanished mysteriously while retrieving crates, their bodies never found. Modern-day employees tasked with cleaning the area speak of hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space. though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Del Monte frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty miner's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Del Monte Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Emily Caldwell, one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls, adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale. Patterns across California's haunted hotels, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of California. From the opulent halls of the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel to the somber grounds of the Del Monte Hotel, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through California's most haunted hotels to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of California's haunted hotels yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.